Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the Lexus RCF Track Edition. Huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This RCF is finished off in Cloudbusrt Grey. They have an MSRP that starts right around $106,000. Now this is powered by the 5-liter V8. It is paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission, and it pumps out 472 horsepower, 395 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the rear wheels. The Track Edition weighs in 200 pounds less than a normal RCF at 3,700 pounds, meaning 0 to 60 is going to be just shy of 4 seconds. This also has a top speed of 168 miles an hour. And as far as fuel economy goes, you're looking at 16 miles per gallon in the city, 24 out on the highway with a 17-gallon fuel tank. This also has a wheelbase of 107.5 inches. Its overall length is 185.4. It has a width of 72.6, a height of 54.7, and its ground clearance measures in just over 5 inches. Now, as we work our way back to the front, you'll notice that the biggest difference is the carbon fiber hood. There's also the vent right here. From what I have seen, it doesn't look to be functional. If you look up underneath the hood, I don't see any vents for it to be functional. But it is functional in giving you a little bit lighter weight with the carbon fiber hood there. Now for the rest of the front end, very similar to a normal RCF. There's the Lexus logo, which is also the forward sensor. There's also the brushed gold for the entire surround for that grille with that hourglass design to it, as well as plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to that engine. Now there's also LEDs for the headlights, DRLs, and turn signals, which have a very nice look to them. And then there's also some inlets in the lower section, as well as the entire carbon fiber front splitter there with those inlets just above it there. So I think it has a really nice look to it. The lines in the hood retain from a stock hood, so they go all the way up and all the way down to the middle section of that hourglass design. Now as we work our way to the side, this has a really nice set of wheels. This also has the F-Sport tuned suspension, as well as the 6-piston Brembos up front, 4 pistons in the rear, and it also comes standard with the carbon ceramic brakes. You'll notice the F badge just behind that. There's more carbon fiber. There's the 3-tone design for the side mirrors that have the turn signal there. And then there's even carbon fiber for the entire roof, which again will help lower its center of gravity, give it a little bit lighter weight. There's gloss black for the entire window trim there, and then really nice lines that go down the side, including the one that starts just behind that front tire. And then there's the line that goes right through the door handle all the way to the rear, where this has a very large carbon fiber spoiler with the F logo on both sides. Hopefully you can see that right there. There's also the Lexus badge in the middle. There's the backup camera, LED taillights as well. And then there's that quad tip dual exhaust along with more carbon fiber for that diffuser down below. So it gives it a great look, and that spoiler just adds a little bit more of that design to it. Now as we work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or the one up underneath to open this up, where this, even though it's the Track Edition, this is something that is going to be on the streets a lot. So you have plenty of cargo space in the trunk. You cannot fold down the back seats, however, but you still get plenty of room. And then up top, there's one grab handle. It's a pretty lightweight trunk, even with that carbon fiber spoiler. And then as we work our way to the interior now, take a look at this combo. We have the red leather for a lot of the accents as well. So there's actually suede on the door armrest there. There's leather just behind that. There's red in the carbon fiber weave, your side mirror adjustments, window controls, one speaker, and then a little bit of storage down below. And then take a look at these red leather seats. With the F logo on the headrest there, there's some brushed accents. Really nice design for these automatic seats. When you pull on this tab here, the seat will also automatically work its way forwards. So that will give you room to hop into the back. Now you're not really buying this for a full 4-seater. As you can tell with that passenger seat all the way back, there is no leg room. But at 5'10", as I hop my way into the back, there are air vents. There's a little bit of storage down in the middle here. And then as far as headroom goes, my head is just touching the headliner here. So I could ride around town if I really needed to, but you're not really buying this to be in the back, but it's definitely doable if I had to be back here. We have the armrest and the small window there as well. So it's doable if you really needed to use it. And then once you pull that seat back, it's going to move back into its normal position. And then there's even red for all of the carpeting down below. Now, as we hop into the inside, you'll notice that we have the perforated leather along with the red leather in the lower section and the F Sport badge. This has paddle shifters. On the left side, there's your Bluetooth and voice controls along with volume and tuning. On the right side, there's cruise control. There's also your lane keeping assist, distance pacing, and then you have some controls for the digital gauge cluster. But let's fire this up, take a listen to how that V8 sounds. And coming back to the gauge cluster now, you'll notice on the far right side, there's miles per hour. Right in the middle is the tach, along with miles per hour again, and what gear you're in. And then over on that left side, you do have some more information that you can go through, and you can use those arrows on the right side of the steering wheel. So you can scroll through all of this information. You can even go into some of your performance, look at your lap timer, G-force meter. There's a compass, you have your music, you have your distance pacing there, any messages, and then some more of these standard safety features that you can go in and monitor. There's also fixed information just above that as well. So you have quite a lot to go through right there. And then over on this left side, there's the auto headlights along with a defroster, parking sensors. There's dimmer switches for the gauges there. There's red for the entire gauge cluster cover there, finished off in the leather. And then for this infotainment system, it's not a touchscreen system, but you have everything down below to go through that. So you have this trackpad with all of these controls here. If I click on menu, you can easily swipe your finger left and right to further get into this information, push on menu to get back. So you have a good bit that you can go through, which is nice, even pulling up the map in full screen there and then getting back to the rest of this information. You can also pair your phone to this system so that way you can pull up Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. There's air vents behind that along with a digital clock. And then underneath that, there's all of the climate adjustments. So you have the slider bar here for the temperature, fan speed, where you'd like the air to go, all of the defrosters. There is a CD player underneath that with power and volume, as well as tuning and some other audio adjustments. There's a little bit of storage, and then you do have a few different driving modes. So twist on this dial, and you will notice that the gauge cluster is going to change. So there's Eco, there's Sport S. If you hold it to the right, there's Sport S Plus, and then push on it for normal or a custom setting. So it's nice that you have those adjustments as needed. There's also launch control, your traction control, and then let's put this into reverse, where there's the backup camera. You have a few different angles as well that you can look at, just depending on how you'd like to view that information. You can go into drive, you have the manual settings, so you can shift here or with the paddle shifters. There's also two cup holders. You have more red suede on the armrest, as well as a little bit of storage with some auxiliaries. And then the glove box also has plenty of storage. You'll notice too that the top of it has the carbon fiber and that red weave, which is really nice. Now up top, there's the garage door buttons with your rear view mirror, and then there's touch sensitive dome lights and a call button just behind that. And then here's a look at visibility. You have that small pillar right there, but it's really not all that hard to see. Great visibility out of the front. And then as we continue our way to the left side, you will notice that you can see out of that small window just over that side of the seat there. So it's really not all that hard to see around. As we set off now behind the wheel for the RCF Track Edition, we've been able to drive quite a few of the RCF models. This would be a first for the Track Edition. We were actually at the Daytona racetrack last year and got to check out one in person, but we were unable to drive it. So now that I get behind the wheel of this, the RCF is already an amazing vehicle. A lot of people like it because of this naturally aspirated V8. You do get a good bit of power. And then with the Track Edition, we have a lighter vehicle too. So not only is it going to perform better, it's a little bit quicker as well, even with the same amount of power. And as far as its handling goes, coming around this right turn, I mean, this isn't called a Track Edition for nothing. This is a vehicle that is going to be very fun to drive. And it's one that, from what I've noticed a lot with the IS models from Lexus, so the IS 350 and the IS 500, I would assume it's similar to the IS 500 as far as having the NA V8 engine. This is a vehicle that really shines in the higher RPM range, which I'm unable to do today. But when you get these up to, it redlines close to 72, 7300 or so. Maybe it could go a little bit more than that if you really wanted to ring it out a bit. This is a vehicle that is going to shine in those higher RPMs. So it's a vehicle that you can definitely play with, especially with the gears. And just a mild acceleration, it sounds good. I can see why this would be a popular vehicle, and just the RCF in general. You don't have to get the track model, which are a little bit more on the rare side. I've only ever seen two since I've been filming over the years, so it's something that you just don't see often. But you could do some of these parts yourself afterwards if you couldn't find one and you wanted to do that on your own. But this is a fun vehicle. As far as how it drives now, with the F-tuned or the F-Sport tuned suspension, you can feel these bumps. I'm not going to knock it for that, because if you're buying this vehicle, you know what you're getting into as far as the suspension setup goes. I would absolutely daily drive this vehicle though. I have no complaints with the suspension, because that's the purpose of this vehicle, to have a little bit stiffer of a ride to really help handle corners well and everything like that. But it drives very nice. You can hear a little bit of the road noise. Again, I'm not going to knock it for that. You still get some of the luxury feel of being in a Lexus, especially with all these premium materials. You get some technology. Lexus, it doesn't really go overboard with their tech. But this is a vehicle that you mainly just have your driving modes and you just drive it and have some fun. So you don't need to worry about all that nonsense. You just get behind the wheel and you can give it some gas like that. Now, I will say, as far as it having the NA V8, this is something that is going to be a lot more reliable. That's why a lot of people like it, just having that naturally aspirated engine. It's going to be a little bit harder to get some extra horsepower out of it unless you supercharge it or do something like that. It's a little bit harder to tune, which can be done, but compared to turbo engines where you can get a lot of power for less money, you have to spend a good bit more to get more power. But I wouldn't say that it's underpowered. Just if you're looking to do more modifications or more power, it's going to cost a little bit more. But in the stock form, if we go back to second gear again, I'd say that's a good bit of power. That wasn't even close to half throttle, so we have basically twice as much of that left to go. And we're still in the Sport Plus setting, second gear. Here we go. I like the drama that's in these shifts too. It definitely shifts very quickly, but it just gives you a really good character and feedback when you get up to speed. And I'm sure that is going to be magnified when you really step on it and get in those higher RPMs. But let's go ahead and dial it into eco mode now, so we can go over the different driving modes. It looks like you are still able to use the paddle shifters here. And we'll go to second gear again, where it's definitely a lot more, it has that lag to it, which is what you would expect shifting into the different modes there. So it's nice that they are functional depending on how you're driving it. Unless you're just cruising out on the highway, I don't see a point to eco mode unless you just want to save on MPG while you get to the track and then put in Sport Plus and really have some fun. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the RCF Track Edition. Definitely a fun vehicle to drive. Like I said, there's not a lot to really mess with. You have what you need as far as the navigation, pairing your phone. That's pretty much it. This is a driver-focused car that you just are going to have a lot of fun with. Brakes are also very touchy, which is to be expected. These are really going to shine when you are out on the track, of course, which is what they are designed for, versus the daily driving like I'm doing right now. It sounds good. I do wish it was a little bit louder. It'd be nice to see maybe an active exhaust with these driving modes, just to give you a little bit more of that track feel, even though it's not, you know, handling or performance related. Just giving you a little bit more of that aggressive sound would be cool. But very fun to drive. I would really enjoy getting this out on the track. These aren't vehicles, especially if the IC or the IS 350 and IS 500 are very popular sedans. The 500, again, I'm just comparing it because it shares the same 5-liter V8. We took that around the Daytona racetrack and it was unbelievable. I was not really a huge fan of those cars, especially this RCF 2, But with experience with the 500 on the track, and even though I'm not doing any performance driving with this, it's unreal how fun this car is with that NA V8. Compared to turbo engines where you can get a lot more power, power's not necessarily everything or important when it comes to how a vehicle performs on the track. This vehicle right here is going to be very quick, very fun to drive. It gives you all those characteristics with that NA V8 to really make this a fun and enjoyable track vehicle. It may not be the quickest, but it's going to be very, very fun. I can tell just from this test drive here. So it'd be really fun. Maybe one day we'll be able to get one of these out on the track for a little bit more performance driving to see how this does. But that is going to wrap it up for the Lexus RCF Track Edition. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this coupe for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. We'll do a few more twisties here, and I will see you all in the next video.